Are you hoping to retire from Nissan within the next 5 years? If so, we're going to spend the next several minutes discussing some of the things that you'll want to know about your Nissan retirement benefits, including the pension, 401k, and health insurance, as well as cover other general retirement concepts that you should be aware of. Nissan's been a great place to work, with many of our friends and clients having been with the company for 25 or even 35 plus years. Beyond providing for you and your family while working at Nissan all those years, the company also provides several benefits that may be available to you during your retirement, and we want to help you make sure you get the most out of these programs. I'm Parker, and this is my partner Chad. You may have noticed that we have the same last name, and yes, we are related. In fact, we're a father-son financial advisor team. We've been working together for several years now, and we really enjoy the opportunity. A primary focus that we share is helping Nissan employees plan for and transition into a successful retirement. We've assisted many of your coworkers in this process over the years and continue to manage their investments and financial plans. While we're not affiliated with or endorsed by Nissan, through this experience, we've gained a good working knowledge of the Nissan benefits and how to best optimize them.
During this video, we'll explore the Nissan 401k, pension and retiree health insurance plans, receiving retirement income before and after age 59 and a half, a financial concept known as sequence of returns risk, as well as a few Social Security highlights. So strap in. Let's start with the Nissan 401k plan. All full-time employees are eligible to participate, and you can contribute as much as $19,500 per year in 2020. And if you're over age 50, like many of us are, you can put an extra $6,500 in for a total of $26,000 per year. As of 2020, Nissan also makes car contributions, which stands for Company Annual Retirement, and that goes into each plan participant's account. The company calculates the contribution amount based on your hire date and years of service. If you were hired before 2006, then you'll receive a contribution equal to 5% of your compensation in the previous year. If you're hired in 2006 or later, your contribution will equal between 2 and 8% of your compensation in the previous year, depending on how many years of service that you have with Nissan. Now, your contributions to your 401k can be made on a pre-tax, after-tax, and Roth basis. The majority of contributions we see are made on a pre-tax basis. However, after-tax and Roth contributions can be advantageous for some participants. The 401k plan provides access to several quality mutual funds at a competitive cost. Vanguard also offers to manage your account for you at an additional fee if you'd like. For those of you who want a much larger universe of investments to choose from, as well as professional management from your personal financial advisor, the plan allows for a self-directed brokerage account to be opened within the structure of the 401k. We use this self-directed brokerage tool to professionally manage a custom-tailored investment portfolio for many of our Nissan clients. For most people, their 401k is one of their largest assets, and making sure that it receives the proper attention and oversight is crucial. After 59 and a half, even if you're still working at Nissan, you can do an in-service rollover of the majority of your 401k to a self-directed IRA. This adds an even greater number of investment opportunities, providing the potential for enhanced risk management and/or growth, and individual management by your financial advisor. This typically does not trigger a taxable event, and you're able to keep making contributions and receive employer contributions into the 401k. This is a popular option for many of our Nissan clients who are over age 59 and a half and still working.
Now that we've covered the highlights of the 401k, let's move on to the pension. There are two different pension plans offered by Nissan that we're going to cover. They are the manufacturing and non-manufacturing plans. While the pension plans were frozen in 2012, any eligible participant in the plans at that time are vested in their accrued benefits up until that point. To be eligible for either plan, you must have been hired by Nissan prior to 2006 and have at least 5 years of service when you retire. If you are eligible for either pension when you retire, the earliest that you can receive your pension benefit is age 55. You could retire earlier and defer your pension until 55, but that's the earliest that you can start receiving payments. And while you can begin receiving benefits at age 55, your earliest unreduced benefit under the manufacturing plan would not start until age 62. Under the non-manufacturing plan, it would not start until age 65. Now, what I mean by unreduced benefit is this. There's a 4% age discount applied for each year that you start the pension plan prior to age 62 or 65, respectively, applied to your monthly benefit. Let's say, for example, that you're an eligible participant in the manufacturing plan, and you start receiving your pension benefit at age 55. That's 7 years early, so there's going to be a 4% per year discount or a 28% total discount applied. While taking the pension early does reduce your monthly pension benefit, it's important to calculate the cumulative benefit over your entire retirement. For example, let's assume that John retires at age 55 and starts his pension benefit right away under the manufacturing pension plan. John's unreduced benefit is $2,100 a month, but because he's taking it 7 years prior to 62, his benefit's reduced by 28%, making it $1,512 a month. Now, if we assume that John is retired for 25 years, he would receive a total benefit of $453,600. Now, if John had deferred his pension benefit and waited until he was 62 to start receiving monthly payments, he would get the full $2,100 a month for the remaining 18 years of his retirement, which would provide a total benefit of $453,600, the same exact cumulative amount. So we see that over a normal life expectancy, it comes out in the wash whether you take your pension benefit early or wait until later. While there's no right or wrong choice, the best option for each individual will depend on whether they want to have more income early in retirement, when they're more active and perhaps traveling and doing more things, or if they would prefer more income later in retirement, in case there are healthcare expenses or other unforeseen expenses. Now, let's take a look at how your pension benefit is actually calculated. There are a few variables that are taken into consideration, starting with your final average compensation. This is the average of your 5 highest years of compensation between the years of 2002 and 2012. Your final average compensation number is then multiplied by 1% for the manufacturing plan and 1.5% for the non-manufacturing plan. The sum of this calculation is then multiplied by your years of service prior to 2012 when the pension was frozen. For example, let's say that you're eligible under the manufacturing plan. Your final average compensation was $75,000 and that you had 25 years of service with Nissan prior to 2012. $75,000 multiplied by 1% is $750. Multiplied by 25 years of service equals $18,750 for your annual pension benefit, assuming there are no age discounts applied. If we use those same assumptions with a retiree under the non-manufacturing plan, we would take $75,000 multiplied by 1.5%, which equals $1,125, multiplied by the same 25 years of service for a total annual pension benefit of $28,125, again, assuming no age discounts are applied. Next, we want to cover 3 of the pension distribution options that are available to you. These will be the same for both pension plans. The first option is the single life annuity. This is the default option for a single retiree, and it provides the monthly pension benefit for the rest of their life. When the retiree dies, the benefit stops. An optional version is the single life annuity and 10-year period certain. This version pays the retiree a slightly discounted amount each month as long as they live. If the retiree dies within 10 years of starting their pension benefit, payments will continue to a beneficiary until a total of 120 payments have been received by the retiree and beneficiary. The second distribution option we'll discuss is the joint and survivor annuity. This provides a further reduced monthly pension benefit to both the retiree and their spouse as long as one of them is still living. You have the choice of providing anywhere from 50 to 100% of the retiree's initial benefit to the surviving spouse if the retiree predeceases the spouse. Keep in mind that the larger the percentage of benefit left to the surviving spouse, the lower the initial retiree benefit will be. At the passing of the second spouse, this benefit stops. Another strategy to consider, although not provided by Nissan, is called pension maximization. This is a private life insurance strategy blended with the single life annuity pension benefit, in which you can take the difference in the monthly benefit of the single life annuity and joint and survivor annuity pension benefits and use that amount to purchase a life insurance policy on the retiree. When the retiree dies, the pension will stop, but a tax-free lump sum death benefit will be available to the beneficiary: spouse, children, grandkids, charity, etc. This provides more flexibility in leaving a financial legacy. The retiree does have to pass physical underwriting by an insurance company before receiving life insurance coverage, so health is an important factor to consider with this strategy. The third distribution option is called the level benefit, also known as the pull-ahead option. This option is only available to and commonly used by employees retiring prior to age 62. It's designed to provide you with roughly the same amount of income from your pension and Social Security both before and after age 62 when you're typically eligible to start Social Security income. You receive a larger pension benefit for the first few years of retirement prior to age 62. When you turn 62, the pension benefit decreases. However, you're then also able to receive Social Security payments, which, added to your decreased pension benefit, will equal roughly the same amount as the higher pension benefit you had received the first few years of retirement. For example, let's say that you retire at 55 and your level benefit pension option is $2,700 a month. At age 62, your pension benefit drops to $900 a month, but you also begin receiving $1,800 a month from Social Security, bringing your total income back up to $2,700 per month. Keep in mind that there's no beneficiary continuation under this distribution option, so you may want to consider pairing it with the pension maximization strategy if it's important to provide income to loved ones.
Parker, what if someone wants to retire prior to 59 and a half and they're concerned about that 10% excise tax on distributions from a 401k or an IRA?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we get that one quite a bit, so let's talk about that for a minute. Yes, there is an IRS rule that says if you take distributions from a retirement account before you're age 59 and a half, there's a 10% tax penalty that you have to pay. This rule does not apply to your pension income, but does apply to 401k and IRA distributions. However, there are a couple of ways to avoid that penalty. With your 401k, there are 3 options. If you die or become disabled, there's no penalty. Now, you can also take distributions under the separation from service rule if you retire between 55 and 59 and a half. Money must be left in the 401k and distributions taken directly from Vanguard to qualify for this rule. You can withdraw regular amounts or a lump sum under that rule. IRAs are a little different. Let's say that you have other IRAs or you roll over your 401k to an IRA. There are a few instances where the 10% tax penalty is waived for IRAs also. If you die or become disabled, purchase a home for the first time, or have qualified education expenses, there is no excess tax applied. You can also utilize something called substantially equal periodic payments, or 72T distributions, to provide regular retirement income free of the penalty tax. With 72T distributions, there is a calculation that we must run based on a federal midterm rate and your age. The annual distribution amount is often between 3 and 5%. Once a distribution amount is determined and 72T distributions are started, you must take the same annual withdrawal amount for 5 years or until 59 and a half, whichever is longer. After that point, you can change or stop distributions at any time. While there are ways to avoid a 10% excise penalty tax, remember that pension income and qualified distributions from a 401k or IRA are typically subject to ordinary federal income taxes regardless of your age. Now, we've covered a lot of information already. Let's look at a couple of real-world scenarios to see how these benefits might work in retirement.
Great idea. Let's explore how things worked out for Mike Jones. Mike retired from Nissan at age 57 with 35 years of service. He has $500,000 in his 401k, and since he's not 62 years old yet and is not eligible for Social Security, he elects the level benefit pension option, also known as the pull-ahead option. Mike has two choices with his 401k. He could roll his 401k over to a traditional IRA and begin taking income under the 72T rule to avoid that 10% tax penalty. Since he's over 55 when he retires, he could also leave some or all of the money in his 401k with Vanguard and take distributions under the separation from service rule as well, again avoiding that 10% tax penalty. Either way, we'll assume that he takes a 4% distribution, and 4% of $500,000 is $20,000 a year. In addition, his pension, using that level benefit option, would pay out $30,000 a year. That gives Mike $50,000 of annual income from his Nissan retirement benefits. Now, Mike may have other assets outside of Nissan, or if he's married, his spouse may have benefits as well that would be in addition to this calculation. Let's look at another example with Mary Smith. She's a few years older than Mike. Mary retires from Nissan at age 62 with 37 years of service, and she has $950,000 in her 401k. She's married, and she elects the 100% joint and survivor pension benefit option. Because she's 62, she's also eligible for Social Security income. So Mary rolls her 401k over to an IRA managed by her advisor, and she then begins to take a 4% annualized distribution, which totals $38,000 per year. On top of that, her pension income is $18,740 per year. Finally, she receives $20,400 per year from Social Security. This gives Mary an income of $77,000 per year. Again, Mary may have other resources outside of Nissan, and her spouse may have retirement benefits as well. That would be in addition to this calculation.
And while everyone's situation is unique, this gives you an idea of some common scenarios that we see. Next, we'll discuss a little-known danger when it comes to retirement income and investment planning.
That's right. It's called the sequence of returns risk. We have a quick illustration that describes the issue and the impact that it can have on your retirement success.
Remember 2008? Sure you do. That was the year of the financial crisis, when the stock market lost nearly 40% of its value and shrank the assets that millions of baby boomers were counting on to fund their retirement. Of course, the markets rebounded, so no worries, right? Right? Well, it's true that during the years you're saving for retirement, if the market drops, you may have time to rebuild your assets that are subject to market volatility. But once you start withdrawing your money, that's when market volatility can have a big impact on how long your assets will last and how comfortable you can live in retirement. One factor in how big an impact is your sequence of returns. That's the year-by-year returns that your retirement assets continue to experience while you're drawing on them for retirement income. Here are a couple of examples. Say you're retiring with a nest egg of $1 million, and you plan to withdraw $50,000 per year, with a slight increase every year for inflation. Meanwhile, your remaining asset is still invested and still subject to the ups and downs of the market. Of course, we can't predict those ups and downs, your sequence of returns, but let's say that in your first year of retirement, you get a really good return, and the next year, you get another positive return. Not as good as your first year, but still positive. Then in year 3, well, a little less. And in year 4, ouch, the market drops and you take a loss. Now, with compounding, you'll average a good positive return over those 4 years. And that's what you want, right? So let's keep repeating that sequence of returns in the exact same order until your annual withdrawals have completely used up the asset. In this example, that's 38 years of income. But what would have happened if you had started withdrawing money in a down market? To find out, let's take those same 4 numbers, and this time we'll reverse the order. You still get the same compounded average, but this time you're starting out with a significant loss, then an okay gain, then a better gain, and then a really good gain. And as before, we'll keep repeating that sequence until your annual withdrawals have completely used up the asset. But in this example, it happens about 13 years sooner. You'd have lost 13 years of income, and only because you got the same returns in a different order. Of course, there's no way to predict the order of your returns, or whether it will be an up market, a down market, or a flat market when you start your retirement.
As mentioned, your sequence of returns during the accumulation phase, all those years when you're working and adding to your savings, doesn't have a significant impact on your portfolio value at retirement. But when you transition into retirement or the distribution phase, it can make a big difference, either positive or negative. A lot of investors and advisors just assume this risk of sequence of returns and hope that they experience a positive sequence early in the retirement. But for many investors, that will prove to be too big of a risk, causing them to seek out ways to protect against potential negative sequence of returns. This leads us to manage that risk and/or transfer the risk. There are several ways to manage your portfolio's risk level through tactical, low volatility strategies and non-correlated alternative assets. You can also transfer the risk in your portfolio to an investment company with deeper pockets by using market-linked CDs, buffered banknotes, and annuities. These investment tools often provide a level of principal and/or future income protection and even guarantees regardless of market and investment performance. The time in your investing career during which your portfolio will be the most sensitive to your sequence of returns, whether positive or negative, is referred to as the retirement red zone. The retirement red zone is a span of 10 years centered around your retirement date, 5 years before you retire, through the first 5 years of your retirement. During this time, you'll transition from the accumulation phase into the distribution phase, and you'll also have the longest period of time ahead of you that you'll need to draw income from your investments. A drop in the value of your investments during the retirement red zone would jeopardize the longevity of your portfolio, causing you to outlive your money. This is not something to get worried about, but it is something to consider and address in a manner that is appropriate for your situation.
Switching gears now, let's talk about some of the other ancillary retiree benefits provided by Nissan. By far, the largest one is the retiree health insurance plan, which provides medical insurance to you from your retirement date through age 65, when you become eligible for Medicare. This coverage is also available for eligible spouses and dependents. There are multiple plan options available, depending on each retiree and family's needs. Premium costs for the plan vary by covered persons and options selected, but they're very competitive compared to the broader health insurance marketplace. To be eligible for this benefit, you must be 55 or older when you retire and have at least 10 years of service if you were hired prior to 2006, or at least 15 years of service if hired during 2006 or later. After turning 65, retirees will transition from the Nissan Retiree Health Insurance Program to Medicare, at which point Nissan provides a stipend for the retiree and spouse to help offset the cost of Medicare supplemental insurance policies. Another great program that continues to be available to you in retirement is the Retiree Vehicle Lease Program, which closely mirrors the Employee Vehicle Lease Program. The retiree and direct family members can participate in this program and lease vehicles at a discounted price.
Well, Parker, it really wouldn't be a complete retirement planning discussion if we didn't talk at least a little bit about Social Security and how it synchronizes with the other benefits we've been talking about.
No, that's exactly right. Social Security is likely to play a pretty significant role in your retirement plan. Social Security can be pretty complicated, but we do want to cover some of the highlights. And as you might guess, the most common question we get is, when should I start my Social Security income? In most cases, you can start to receive Social Security income as early as 62, and you can defer it up to age 70. The IRS considers your full retirement age to be 65 to 67, depending on when you were born. Now, why would you wait and not start this benefit as soon as possible at age 62? The biggest reason is that the amount you receive increases by about 8% per year for each year that you wait to start your benefit. Let's say instead of starting at age 62, you started at age 63. Well, you're going to get about 8% more per month than you would have if you had started at 62. And that trend continues up until age 70. One point to consider, though, is that there is a crossover point where the cumulative amount of benefit that you get from Social Security becomes more if you wait versus had you started early, and that's usually around age 80. Let's assume that Sam starts his Social Security benefit at 62, and Sally starts her full retirement age benefit at 67. Sam gets a 5-year head start, and let's say he's getting $20,000 per year from Social Security. That's $100,000 of total income received by Sam before Sally ever gets her first Social Security check. Now, Sally might get $29,000 a year, but it's going to take quite a while for her to catch up to and receive more cumulative income than Sam. Each individual situation is unique, and determining the right time to start receiving your Social Security benefit will depend on your anticipated life expectancy and other retirement and financial factors. If you want to retire early, or wish to preserve your investment assets to offset future inflation, or to leave as a financial legacy, you may decide to start your Social Security benefit early. If you expect to live a long time and work until your full retirement age, you may be better off deferring your Social Security benefit until a later age. Another note regarding Social Security is the availability of a non-working spousal benefit for married couples. If you're married and one of the spouses has not worked outside of the home at all, or very little, this may be an attractive option. A non-working spouse is entitled to 50% of their working spouse's full benefit, or 100% of their own benefit if they have worked some, whichever is greater. So let's say that my wife and I retire at 62 and begin receiving our Social Security income. Since my wife has not worked outside of the home very much, she elects to receive the spousal benefit. If my benefit is $2,000 a month, my wife's eligible to receive half of my benefit, or $1,000 a month. Together, we would receive $3,000 per month from Social Security.
We've covered a lot of information in this short video, and we hope it was helpful. If you're wondering what to do next in your journey to financial freedom and success, then we'd recommend scheduling a personal retirement overview or PRO meeting with us. During a PRO meeting, we discuss your unique financial situation and retirement goals and dreams in detail. We'll also help you calculate your pension benefit and distribution options, determine if your investment portfolio is properly allocated, and how much income you could expect to receive from your investments in retirement, as well as help you calculate your Social Security benefit at different ages, and then factor in any other sources of income you may have in retirement. By the end of the PRO meeting, you'll have a very good idea of when you may be able to meet your retirement goals, allowing you to make decisions about your financial future with confidence. There's no cost for a PRO meeting and certainly no obligation to do business. We offer in-person PRO meetings at our office, as well as Zoom video conference PRO meetings. Click below to view our calendar or give us a call and schedule your PRO meeting.